Alright, hey guys, this is Max with Pure Power Solar, and today, of course, we're going to be going over the Bluetti EP500 and 500 Pro. These are some really cool systems that I just recently found out about from Bluetti, and they are very powerful, very large, and let's go ahead and talk first about exactly what we're going to be discussing throughout this video. First, as you can see with the circles going in a clockwise format, I'll give you an overview of the just some basic stats of the system. Next, we'll talk about specifics, so I'll get into more detail on all of the different components and the power ratings, such as things like that. Then we'll talk about some questions. So what is it best for, and then why should someone get this? We'll compare it to a couple other solar generators, and then we'll do some pros and cons, and then we'll call it a day from there. So let's go ahead and get into the overview section. First off, here's what the system looks like. It's a big system, very big, and it has wheels that are already on there. So definitely not portable, like bringing it on any off-grid terrain or anything that's not a flat surface. That's probably not ideal. So first we have the 5100 20 watt-hour battery. This is a huge battery with this system. The only other system I know that's around this powerful is the Yeti 6000X from Goal Zero. That's over 6,000 watt hours, so this one is pretty competitive in that realm. But both these two, the 6000X and this one, are both very large in terms of battery size. Next, we have the 6,000 plus cycles or life cycles of this system. That's due to the lithium iron phosphate battery. That's lithium iron phosphate, if you didn't know that already. Now, 6,000 plus cycles to 80% battery capacity, that means that it's just going to last a long time if you don't understand exactly what life cycles are. This is by far the largest amount of, or the highest amount of life cycles that I've ever seen for a solar generator. This is first off a huge one at that amount of battery capacity, but then with this additional life cycles, I mean, it's pretty impressive. So we'll get into the comparisons and we'll discuss a little more, and you'll see exactly what I mean when we compare them. Next, we have the inverter size. So I said that we have the EP500 and EP500Pro, two different models. The standard 500 has 2,000 watts continuous from the AC ports, and then 4,800 watts surge power in case you need it. Then we have the 500 Pro that has 3,000 watts continuous, 6,000 watts surge. Very nice increase there with the Pro. And then for solar, the solar input for the standard EP500, 1,200 watts. It's a very nice number. And then the EP500 Pro is doubling that at 2,400 watts. Now that's very impressive. Doubling that for the Pro version. Wow, that's a lot of solar. All right, now, before we get into everything else, subscribe and hit the bell if you like this sort of content. I do a lot of these sort of reviews on off-grid powering technology, some unboxings here and there. Like and comment if you have anything to say about this or some other systems. Please let me know. I like to respond to hopefully every single comment. So let me know there what your thoughts are. All right, now let's get into the specifics. First, we'll talk about the battery. I already discussed most of the battery specifications, but you can see here what it looks like underneath the covers. By the way, the images that I have here are from the Bluetti's EP500 page, so I would highly recommend checking that out for more details on like purchasing it or just anything else that I may not have covered. Go ahead and check out Bluetti's website for that. So we have it uncovered here with the batteries, I'm assuming here, and then the other technology like the inverter or the charge controller probably up in here somewhere. And first off, it's longer lasting. I already talked about it having that massive amount of 6,000 plus life cycles. It's safer. So lithium iron phosphate is generally safer than lithium ion batteries and lead acid batteries, and they're not hazardous, so they're not toxic. And then we have the EP500 and the EP500 Pro. Both of them are at 5,100 20 watt hours, and then the 6,000 plus cycles, as I've already mentioned. So the simple specs here, the outputs and inputs. So I'll just talk to you about those real quick. I have pictures of them here. So first we'll talk about the charging ports. So right here we have two outputs. These are the key charging pads, so wireless, 15 watts each. Next we have the cigarette lighter port, which is right in the middle here. All of these are outputs. Next we have the 100 watt USB-C, which is right here. That's a pretty nice USB-C, very powerful. And then we have the 4 USB-As. It looks like 2 of them are quick charge. I'm assuming the purple ones are the quick charge ones. Then we have the 2x12 volt 10 amp DC ports right there in the middle of the cigarette port and the USBs. And then a 30 amp RV port. I'm not sure exactly about this connector. I know the Titan solar generator has a different looking connection, so if you have details about that, leave it in the comments. But you have a RV port there. And then we have, oh, we already talked about the wireless charging pad. You know, something I have here about the USBs, so it's only one USB or USB-C. That's kind of, it's not upsetting, but it's just kind of inconvenient, I guess. I mean, USB-C technology is definitely becoming more prevalent. More people are using USB-C technology. So, I mean, only one USB-C, but that's, I mean, not a huge deal. If you're using a system that's this large, I'm sure you're not only going to be using it with USB-C devices. And then also we have the screen here. I'm not sure about details on the screen as of yet. This system's still not for sale yet, but the previous version, the Bluetti AC200P, I know that has a touchscreen. It's an LCD touchscreen, so I'm curious if this one also has that. It looks like it might, just judging from the picture. So that's pretty cool. Okay, now let's talk about the AC ports and the input ports. So first the ACs. So we could see this is the standard version because of the 2000 watts continuous. You have 4 US AC ports, and then the UK or European or Australian ones, you'll have 3 of those. And then that's pretty much it for that. It's pure sine wave, which is good. And here we go with the inputs. So we have one AC input, and that is all the way on the left here. We'll get into the details of how much power it has in a second. We have a communication interface, which is located right here on the right. We'll also talk about that. You can hook up a couple of these systems together to create more power. Then we have the one photovoltaic or solar input, and then a T500. I'm not sure what a T500 is. I looked it up. It wasn't easy to find right off of Google, but we have the solar panel input right in the middle here, and that's where that massive amount of charging input will come in through solar. Okay, next here we have charge times. So right here we have the different charge times for the EP500 on the left, and then the 500 Pro is on the right. The wall outlets, we have a 600 watt power supply that will charge it in 9 to 9.5 hours. And then solar will be 4.7 to 5.25 hours. It's very specific. I'm assuming, and this is true with most solar generator stats, this is with the maximum input with really good sun, the correct angle of the panels and all that. So I would bank on having a little slower charge time just in general, just with any stats or specs. Might be a little slower, but these are the best times you can get. That's pretty nice for a system that's this huge. And for the 500 Pro, we have a few things here. So it looks like you'll be getting an 1800 watt power supply. I haven't seen any pictures or any different features of the power supply, but you'll have, looks like an 1800 watt power supply. That's a huge increase from the standard wall outlet. And then you'll be able to recharge in 3.5 to 3.8 hours. And then the other versions are right there for you. We have the solar input recharging this huge battery. It's over 5,000 watt hours in 2.6 to 3.1 hours. I mean, that's faster than systems that are half the size of this. That's very impressive. The only concern I have is if this will cause overheating, or if it will cause life cycles to be shortened because it's so, you could charge it so fast from its maximum solar input. I'm not sure about that since the system is so new, but the super fast charge time is really, really impressive. We have the MPPT charge controller. This is pretty standard in solar generators that have come out in the last year or so. MPPTs are typically the best charge controllers that you can have, so that's nice to have in this system. We have app control. I have a question mark here because they didn't give a lot of details on the app control. It has firmware that will be updated, so you can continually get more features down the road, hopefully, with this system. But you do have control with it via your phone, smartphone, or probably a tablet. So that's pretty interesting. I would stay tuned for that. Maybe I'll have some more information within the coming month or so on the details of not only the app, but other features too. And then we have the PV or solar and AC charging. You can do that at the same time. I'm not sure exactly combined what the exact timing would be if you had both maxed out, but that's another impressive feature. And then the weight. I have another question mark because they didn't talk about the weight. I'm assuming this system weighs over 100 pounds. I did a review on the Yeti 6000X, which you'll find a video here. Hopefully I'll link it on top. But that system, I believe, I don't remember exactly how much it weighed. It was a little over 100 pounds, so I'm assuming this will be around the same. And then the MSRP currently for this is $4,000. And that is a lot of money, absolutely, but it is a lot less than the Yeti 6000X. So the Yeti 6000X, I believe, is exactly $6,000. I could be wrong there. Maybe it's $5,000, but still, I'm almost 100% sure it is a good amount less than the Yeti 6000X. Something to think about. And then we'll get into some unique specifications, and these are really cool features. I had to research these because some I didn't know. And the first one is UPS. This stands for uninterruptible power supply. Basically what this means is that you'll get a continuous flow of power if you have the system connected somehow to the grid. And I don't know exactly how the connections work, but what an uninterruptible power supply generally stands for is if the grid is running power to, I believe, the solar generator, so in this case the EP500, if the grid is running power to this system to charge it, keep it charged, and then the power goes out, the uninterrupted power supply will do what it says. It won't interrupt any power that's going into electronics or maybe sensitive devices that may be damaged. Say you're working, for example, for me, if I'm writing an article or creating a video and the power goes out, pretty much screwed. With this, it has an uninterruptible power supply, so the power will turn on. If the grid goes off, there's a power outage or brownout or something, you'll have a power supply that will smoothly keep your devices running, and that is a huge factor. And yeah, that's just something that's a really cool feature. We have peak load shifting, and basically what this means is that you can shift on and off depending on the usage of power in your community on the grid. Let me break this down here. So at certain times of the day, there are a ton of people that are using power all at the same time. And what that means is that power companies are going to bring the prices up for power because they're supplying more power all at once to these households. What peak load shifting allows you to do, when the time comes and there's a lot of people that are using power at the same time and there's higher prices for utilities, it will turn the generator on, the solar generator, and allow you to use the power from that battery and not use power on the grid. So the whole point of this system is to help you save money on utility bills. This, to me, seems like something that will be with the application, because I'm not sure about the inner workings of everything and how it's able to read when the power is going to be surging for a ton of people using it at the same time. But it's got to be within the app. That's what I'm thinking. So you'll save money with a peak load shifting system, and this system has it. That's a pretty amazing feature, and you can clearly see so far very technologically advanced with the system here. We have split phase bonding as well. What is split phase bonding? You can combine two systems and 240 volts and 120 volts. 240 volts, those are large appliances. Your washer, dryer, possibly your washing machine in your kitchen. Also, maybe the heater, just big appliances. They need 240 volts of energy, and you're not going to get that from a wall outlet. 120 volts is the wall outlet. Smaller devices, things that can be plugged into a typical AC outlet, that's what that is. So what split phase bonding helps you do is run both systems if you need to. And let's look at this picture here because it'll help show the story a little more. So we have two systems, and this is only with two of these solar generators. Obviously, it's a ton of money, but it might be useful for a lot of people. So you have two systems that are connected. You have the communication cable, which is required. Those are both paired together. And then you have both of these, I believe, they're both AC ports that are connected to this. And this is Bluetti's own device. And I forget what this is called off the top of my head, but it allows you to use that 120 volt power you could see with these AC outlets here. And then this is where you connect your 240 volt appliances to the system. So say you have a very large space heater, you can connect it to here. Now, once again, you can use this up to, I believe, 4,000 watts continuous with the standard EP500 if you have two of them paired. And if you have two of the Pros, the EP500 Pros connected, you will get 6,000 watts of continuous power. That is very impressive. I've never seen anything like this with a solar generator before, but you have versatility. Comes at a price, but it may be worth it if you are able to afford it, and it may help you when the power goes out. Okay, next here we'll get into the what and the why. First question here, what's it best for? So this system is very large. I'm saying this is best for home use and office use. So why? I have all these things listed here: appliances and electronics, peak load shifting, the application, UPS, we already talked about all of that. But for office use, peak load shifting is great because you'll be able to save money on utility bills. That's that's good for the home as well. You have the application that will help you to run the device run the system without having to go to it. You could use it over, I believe, Bluetooth. Then we have the uninterrupted power supply. So if the power goes out, and say you have people working for you or you're working with that are working on important documents or something like that, and the power goes out, you will not have the risk of losing that information that you're working on as the power goes out. It's much less risky to lose any data or important data that you're working on when you have that uninterrupted power supply. Also, all of these apply for home use, appliances and electronics. Obviously, when you're in an office, you'll have computers and some other things, so maybe it will also apply with office use for appliances and electronics, but definitely for home use. That's, of course, why. Next, why get this? So there's no other combination of all the features I've already discussed anywhere on the market. I can't find a single solar generator thus far that has a large lithium iron phosphate battery, a split phase technology, a high input and output, app control, and several other features all combined into one system. I haven't seen anything like it. This is really cool. The closest thing that I think comes to it is the Yeti 6000X, and then the Point Zero Energy is coming out with upgraded Titan solar generator that will have similar features, but this one by far is very impressive. All right, so now let's get into a comparison. And so we're going to compare these systems. This is from Bluetti's website. We're going to compare these systems to the Yeti 6000X and the 0.0 Energy Titan. Now, first we'll go in order, and I'll zoom in. All right, the pack capacity, so you have the 5100 watt hours or 5120. The Yeti 6000X is over 6,000 watt hours, a little larger. We have the 0.0 Energy Titan, 2,000 watt hours, but you can expand the battery. So each battery pack is 2,000 watt hours, and you can expand it pretty much as you want to go. We have the battery type lithium iron phosphate here, the lithium ion NMC for the 6000X, and the same here for the Titan. Now we have charge cycles. The EP500, 6,000 plus. The Yeti 6000X, now we were talking about cycles and how you'll see the difference here. 500 cycles to 80% capacity. Now this system will still run for a long time, but this far outweighs the longevity of the 6000X. I mean, it has 10 times or more cycles. Then the 0.0 Energy Titan is a little better here with 2,000 cycles to 80% capacity. Now let's talk about the AC inverter. We already talked about 2,000 watts continuous for the regular version and then 3,000 watts for the Pro version. We have 2,000 continuous for the 6000X and 3,000 continuous with the Titan. And this is with 2 batteries. So the Titan has the exact same inverter setup as the 500 Pro. It's 3,000 and then 6,000 watts surge. That's with 2 batteries on the Titan. Next we have the surge. We could see the 6000X has 3,500 watt surge. That's the least out of all of these. 4,800 watt surge with the regular, and then 6,000. All right, output ports. I'm not going to go into all the output ports. I already talked about them, but you can see that this one clearly has more. The EP500 models have more. Then the input charging time. This is definitely an important feature. So we already talked about the ones for the EP500 models, but the wall outlets, here's some important information here. So this middle one for the 6000X is wrong. This is with the about 400 watts of solar panels with the 6000X. You can attach up to 600 watts of solar panels with it, and so it will charge in the same amount of time as the wall outlets or a little longer. So 12 hours with solar here. But still, you could see that solar far outweighs the 6000X in the EP500 models. Car charging, I'm not going to go into car charging, but you can see the Titan is definitely very fast here. This does not have car charging because it's such a huge system. It doesn't seem to be fit for most vehicles as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know. And then the wall outlets here, the Titan is pretty fast, 4 hours from the wall. That's because with 2 batteries you can charge with 1,200 watts of AC with 2 AC chargers. Solar is 2 hours, and then yeah, so that's pretty fast with the Titan. But the massive EP500s are still very competitive, and they're clearly faster with solar. So in general, when you have 2,400 watts maximum of solar, that is just absurd. The Titan's maximum amount of solar with 2 or more batteries is 2,000 watts, and this one beats it. First time I've ever seen any solar input beat the Titan thus far. Next we have the max solar power input. Well, we just talked about that. This is wrong. 360 watts for the 6000X, it is 600 watts. And then 1 battery pack is 1,000 watts for the Titan, 2,000 watts with 2 batteries. Okay. All right, here's where things get a lot different. Wireless charging, only on the EP500 models. Split phase bonding, that special system where you can connect 2 of them together to get more power, only on that. MPPT charge controller, all of them have it. All of them have, or that's doubled here. We have app control. The Titan does not have that yet, but they're going to be releasing new models maybe in 2021 that will have an application set up. We have the UPS function only available with the EP500. We have simultaneous charging from solar panels and AC. That is, one of these is false. That is with the Titan. So you can charge from the AC, from the wall, and from solar, and even from the car all at the same time with the Titan. So that is incorrect. But the 6000X, as far as I know, does not have that. Peak load shifting, that's a very special feature only with the EP500 compared to these other models. So those are the different stats comparing some other similar models. Now we have pros and cons. So pros first, large battery, over 5,000 watt hours, huge battery. It's a powerful battery. 2,000 watts continuous with the base model, 4,800 watts surge just in the base model alone. You have advanced technology. We talked about those special features with the system that are only available really with this solar generator. And then long lasting. The lithium iron phosphate battery just makes it very long lasting, massive amount of charge cycles. Now for cons, it's a big system, it's just bulky, it's huge. It's not intended for off-grid use, or not off-grid, it's not intended for using on terrain or anything other than just normal flat surfaces. These are mainly meant to just be used inside a home as far as I'm concerned, that's my opinion. It's heavy. I don't know the weight of it yet. It doesn't seem like Bluetti has released any information on that yet, but I'm sure within the next month or so we'll get more information. And then the output is still not as high, still not as high as powerful gas generators. So I'm referring to just portable gas generators. You still have a lot more power with a gas-powered generator. So this is something that it seems the solar generator community and the manufacturers, they're continuing to increase it. This is a very high, I mean, you can see with the split phase and with just the both of these models, they're getting higher and higher in terms of how much power they can output. But a high-powered gas portable generator is around, I want to say 10,000 watts continuous, which is huge. It's such a high number that it's not able to compete still, even with a super powerful system like the Bluetti, the EP500s. All right, guys, so that's the end of the video. If you enjoyed it and you want to see more content like this, subscribe and hit the bell, of course, and then like the video if you enjoyed it, and comment. Let me know what you guys think of this system. What are your thoughts? Are you skeptical? Do you like your Bluetti if you have one? Do you like other models? Let me know in the comments below. And lastly, I'll be getting an article out probably within a week of the release of this video. You could find it in the description below. I'll have more comparisons. There's some other solar generators that I think will be more competitive with this large system, and you'll find that in the article below. So thank you guys again, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.